Hello, everyone. Good to see that we have people who already joined earlier. We are going to wait for a few minutes, 2, 3 minutes before we're going to start.
Thanks, Paul. Yeah, makes sense. I think it's good to stay also. It's a bit early now. So maybe before we start, for the uh, participants that already joined, so you are welcome already to post any questions you might have, to uh, state maybe the reasons and what motivated you to join the call, because of course it helps us to guide while the webinar to particularly answer to your questions. So what do you think, Paul? Should we wait one more minute or should we already start?
Um, I think it's worth to already start. And if there are going to be more people who are going to join in the meantime, they're all welcome, and we are more than eager to follow up with their questions or any, let's say, thing that maybe they didn't get. So yes, I think we can start. So first and foremost, welcome everyone to today's presentation. I'm Paul. I'm responsible for the business and networking activities for Swarm, the solution that we are going to present today. And together with me on the team are Gabriel and Violeta, who are the product manager and product owner, respectively, for Swarm. And we are excited to introduce you to Swarm and this new function of having AI enhanced workflows. To give you a brief overview of how the webinar is going to go, for in the next 45 minutes, we are going to firstly quickly dive into a brief history and mission of BearingPoint, and also make a short introduction to the products line, followed by an introduction to so many capabilities, including a live product demonstration with a real life use case and application on approval workflows, which is going to highlight the ease of use and key functionalities. Last but not least, at the end, we are going to have a Q&A session where we are going to answer each one of your questions. So any type of question that you might have, you're more than welcome to address it. And now for the next minute, I'm going to pass the microphone to Gabriel, who's going to describe you more about BearingPoint and our products.
Yeah, thanks, Paul, and also welcome everybody. Warm welcome from my part as well, and look forward to present also the latest functionalities that we added to our product Swarm. But before that, because there could be participants that maybe they don't know already about BearingPoint, let me give you a brief introduction, also an understanding into how we are structured. Yeah. So BearingPoint is a company of roughly 6,000 colleagues, and we are structured into three main business units. So maybe the largest one, and I think most of you have heard of, we are known for our consulting business, where we have most of our colleagues. And it's a unit both focused, of course, on management consulting, on business transformation, and we are one of the largest consulting companies which merges seamlessly business and technology into one unit. Furthermore, we have our unit of capital, so that's more into the mergers and acquisitions, into this kind of transaction services. And the unit that we would be focusing on today is our products unit. So it's where we develop our assets, where we have a portfolio of 22 products in our portfolio, which are actually, let's say, part of the insights that we got from our consulting expertise, and where we've seen recurring needs, where we've seen that many enterprise customers, they have the same need. Then that's where we decided to say, okay, let's support this challenge, and let's build a solution out of it. So you see, we have out of the 22 products, some are more into a pure software service, which are represented under certain verticals, but it's also part of our product portfolio to establish managed services for established products in the market. Like it could be the Salesforce, it could be the SAP or Microsoft landscape. But for today, we would be focusing on Swarm. So this is the product where you would see much more details about. So maybe to start with, what is Swarm and what can you achieve with it? So first and foremost, and where we've seen that there's a big need in the market, despite there are several solutions which allow you to implement different business workflows you might have in your organization, but still this is somehow challenging. This is on one hand maybe limiting and too rigid for the larger players in the market, maybe lacking the certain connectors when you think about the enterprise landscape, and that's mainly the main reason why we decided to build these solutions several years ago. So besides the workflows and the pure operational part, where you can create different forms, achieve different tasks, make sure that you can fit the deadlines, the approval flows that you need to do, because in the end, most of the business workflows at a point, they require an approval. Besides this, we also do the next step in how are we interpreting this? How should we analyze this data? How should we easily report this data? So from elementary ones, like you can export Excel, CSV is more into more elaborated way of exporting data, is into the reality that most of the enterprise customers, they use Swarm in conjunction with their enterprise software. So this could be the CRM, and we have the connectors to main CRM players in the market, like Salesforce, like Dynamics, and so on, into the ERP area, like SAP, IFS, and so on. But also when analyzing is the business intelligence part out of it. So on one hand, you collect the data, you have the forms, you have the workflows inside Swarm, but a large organization might be using a central Power BI on SAP Analytics Cloud or Tableau or something else. So that's where we would be feeding in the data to make sure that in the end, the decision makers have an, let's say, one-stop shop where they collected all the data from all the environments they have. They can go the extra mile and also tick all the boxes and see where they actually lack the certain information. They can use Swarm, get that information, and see it consolidated. And of course, last but not least, is the AI part. And AI is not only the buzzword that we hear in the recent period. For BearingPoint, we do have AI products since 2014, and that's where we augmented on. So right now we are using AI not only into giving, let's say, a smart insight, a thought through insight. Okay, what does the data tell me? But really adding it into the day-to-day processes. Yeah. So AI is not something used during the analysis phases by some data scientists, but it's really for each employee in the organization to benefit of it, and then to of course use it into the day-to-day life, and uh, of course make the processes faster and better. So with that, moving on, I think it's important to understand and to give you a usual example, yeah, of an approval flow. So I think in most of the companies, when you have a business workflow, then somebody would trigger it. You start the workflow, then somebody would contribute with much more information. They might do it digitally, it might be a solution in the middle, or they might be completing certain forms. But the reality is that at a point, this is not seamless. Yeah, sometimes you need to send an email to require that people contribute with the right information. Sometimes you need to even pick up the phone or write in Slack, in Teams, or in the communication channels to make sure that this is working. And usually, let's say, such business processes also have a certain approval time. Yeah, this could be also due to operational reasons, also it could be due to factual reasons, and so on. And finally, at the point you see that the workflow that you started reached its end. But we know we can do this much better, and also we analyze the reasons why most of the time this takes time, because the persons that have to approve, actually it's not that they don't care about approving, but they need additional information. They need before approving or rejecting, they need to understand, okay, but is it based into the right policies that I have into the organization? Is it fair, yeah, with the previous approvals or rejections that were in the past? Is it entitled and framed into our current business? And only afterwards you have the confidence of approving or rejecting. So how we think this can be better, and how the functionality that was recently introduced in our product helps, is that we provide certain recommendations in what makes sense to do. So we make it this much easier, where at the point you have a certain workflow, and as an approver you already see, okay, actually this makes sense to be approved, or this doesn't make sense to be approved, or actually why should I approve it, what are the arguments to approve, or in case I reject, what would be the reasons behind. Yeah, so this of course makes it much faster. Yeah, so I think it's important to understand, before we go into an example, why did we do this? Yeah, what are the key benefits for doing that? And firstly is that we've seen, and from our measurements, is that we not only made it more efficient, but also reduced the natural human errors. Yeah, so in our calculations, and also in the feedback of the existing usage, we managed to make the process more efficient by 60%. Yeah, so what it means, maybe does it mean by 60%? So it means that if usually a process was lasting 2 weeks for whatever reasons, then it's at the range of 3 to 4 days that it gets accomplished. So that's a bit an explanation on the time frame. Uh, the, the recommendations, yeah, besides the human error, make the decisions better. Yeah. So when what we mean better is, if at a certain point in time you had a policy change, maybe the person that approved didn't get this update, so would go all still in the previous policy. Yeah. So with the recommendation, actually is the first flag easily to see that actually it makes sense now to approve, or actually now it doesn't make sense to approve. So we made the decision much better because we consolidate, let's say, the existing knowledge base, the previous examples, into making this faster. Then another classical challenge, if we think in the or if we look at the traditional software, which is accommodating business workflows, uh, you have several limitations when it comes to accessibility. Yeah, there are, let's say, processes set in place within the organization, but at a point, maybe you need to go to an external, and that's normal for a company. If you have a contractor, if you have maybe a certain external inspector or trainer and so on, then that's when we go into the limitations classically into such solutions. And on the other hand is the flexibility. So we had this from day one when starting the product, that our vision was that each business colleague should be creating his own workflows. There's not the need anymore to reach out to a developer or to the IT department to support you. So the solution provides the full flexibility that if you want to ask a new question in a form, if you want to add one more person into the approval process, or you want to simplify it, then you can do this easily without the need of a developer or a technical person or a specialist that would do this change on your behalf. So what we gain, of course, is the additional insight. So when we collect data, we do it in a structured way. We do the right tags behind, the right catalog, so that we can gain additional insights, so that we can gain the quantitative, but also the qualitative insights that we require. And last but not least, we are aware, and the solution is not yet another item into your IT landscape. Yeah, the Swarm solution is actually enriching the data into your existing system. So we have a wide area of connectors. I mean, I also exemplified a few, like SAP, like different Microsoft platforms, Salesforce, IFS, also the smaller ones. Also, if you think into a classical business workflow like ServiceNow and so on, that's part of our existing connectors. That's where we actually make this smoother. Yeah. But I think with that is good to see an example, yeah, to see, and also to start with. This is only for you to understand, but of course the use cases are much wider. So if we think of an classical training request, yeah, so most of the companies have an L&D department, and which structures the trainings, where you can request, yeah, that as an employee you do a training. But at a point, actually an individual, your superior, your project manager, your second line manager has to approve this training. Yeah, so they're of course not persons, let's say, from within the L&D department that know everything by heart and can do this, but you need the extra confirmation from the business. So that's also one of the examples where sometimes it takes more time, and we analyze, okay, but why does it take more time? And one of the reasons was that people are unsure, for instance, okay, but actually does this training fit? Is this something needed for the persons that request, or is it a nice to have for my core business? On the other hand, there's financial factors, of course. How much the training costs? Yeah, is it in line with our policy? What is, let's say, allowed, for instance, per year basis for an employee to pay for trainings? And also, we go even further. What is it fair? Yeah, is it fair for his colleagues that he does this training? Is it fair for his level of seniority in the company to do this training? So what we do, we encapsulate all this data, we summarize it so that it's not only, let's say, an out of the blue approve or reject, but it also showcases the reasons behind. Yeah, so if we would go into such a example, you would see that the criteria would be financial, would be the level of the person, would be the role, and so on, to approve or reject. And then, of course, is the usual process where you might have an if you get approved, for instance, then you have to register and so on. So what's important to know that Swarm can allow you to cover end-to-end workflows, yeah, with bearing in mind that at each point in time where you need to augment and to accelerate, and you need some additional intelligence that would need to look in different sources, that's where we would have the AI insights. Yeah. So that's kind of, let's say, how it works. But of course, one of the questions would be with how does it work? Yeah? How do we set this up? So for that, actually, we do have firstly, an easy module to create the forms that you need. So we have a wide area of entry types that we use. So it's from the elementary ones, like you might want to use a text box, drop downs, and so on, that you usually see also to other solutions, but also it can be more accurate than that. So we allow, if you want, for instance, to put a certain pin on the map, to use like the GPS location inside your form. If you want to take a photo and do a red markup because it's needed for your use case, we can also cover this with the wide area of entry types that we have in the platform. So what happens once you have the forms and the structure in how you collect the data, then we define the structure of the workflows. So with an easy drag and drop, you can say, okay, I have this form, and then I have this other form if this is approved, and then I have maybe another step on another condition. So this is made as easy as possible, and also what you can configure at certain step is when you want to add this AI part. So first you trigger, you highlight that you want to select it, and of course is the linking behind the scenes that we are doing for all the knowledge bases that we have. But without more details, I think it's always easier if you see the solution in action. So I suggest that we move to a demo, and also inviting Violetta to show us a bit the platform, to show us a bit how the forms look like, and how a workflow would look like.
Yes, hello. Thank you, Gabriel. So let's see how we can use automation and AI to streamline the training request process in the company. I'm going to share my screen. Just a second. So do you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, this is the Swarm app. We are going to walk through a smart workflow where an employee submits the form, the training request. The manager reviews it, and then here is the best part where AI jumps into to suggest whether it should be approved or not. I will go to my email. I don't know if you see my screen right now with the email that I received to complete the form.
We see only the browser. I think this is okay.
Okay. Okay, I will go then into the inbox to take the training request from there. Is the other option. So we have two options when completing the training request, whether in the email or from the inbox in Swarm. So I will go to fill in the training request as an employee. I will fill out the fields that are mandatory for this training request. I'll put a job title here, let's say software engineer, the training name, basics of AI, training provider, BearingPoint, let's say, location online, the training fee, let's say 500, travel expenses 0 because it's online. We can put here motivation and reach the knowledge in the AI topic, dates of the training, and the days spent, and start date and end date. I will submit the form. And now, after the submission of the form, the manager will receive an email, or he can go to inbox to see the form that he should approve or reject using AI. And I will pass the mic to Paul. He is the manager in this.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, in this case, I'm going to be the manager for this demonstration. So I have just received the email. I'm going to start sharing the screen immediately. And I would like to have a confirmation from you if you can see it. Okay, can you see my screen?
It's loading. Okay, we can see the screen.
Yeah.
Great. So this is the email that I have received. As you can see, I do have the message where I have to review the training request from Violetta in this case. I'm going to click this button. And I'm going to wait for the request to load. And as you can see here, I do have the request with all the useful information that Violetta just submitted earlier, such as the first name, last name, email, his job title, what training he's aiming for, the fee of the training. So basically everything that Violetta has submitted in the past form. Now, as you can see, the AI here is not going to automatically approve based on the information from the form, but rather the AI is only going to make a suggestion based on some key factors, which can be something like the applicant's job title, the cost of the training, the company policy in terms of training budgeting, and so on. And these AI recommendations basically streamline the whole process of looking after every single of this information, and also provides an extra layer of confidence for the manager before approving something. So as you can see, this is the suggestion that I have received to approve it. And the AI mentions what that's it's okay to approve this training, and that's what I'm going to do in the next couple of seconds. As you can see, I can simply approve. I can even leave a comment here, such as, okay, approve from my side. And as you can see, the decision has been sent. So that's how the whole workflow process works. And it can even be customized further more than that if Violetta wants to provide even more information about how it works behind the scenes.
Yep. Do you see my screen?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, here is a table of all the workflows that I've created. For now, I have just one workflow. I can go into this workflow and change some data in here. For example, in our example, we have the first step that is it's a form that I've completed, and then is the approval step where Paul reviewed my form. What we can do more on this template, we can add some other steps for the approval. If approved or reject, we can add another step as a form or email or something else. What we can do more, we can edit the persons that will complete the first step and the second step. Right now, I'm the only one that I received the invitation for completing the form, but we can add other users for completing the form or for reviewing the form. Here in the setup of the workflow, we can see that from here we can switch on the AI recommendation for the reviewer to see the recommendation in his step. What I can show you more is on the workflow templates. This is my template. I said before that we can add another step. So here I can add another form. If the form is approved, I can add a form from here. For example, let's say the registration form. So after the training request was approved, the registration form is the next step that the employee should complete for finalizing the whole workflow. So these are the things that we can do. Again, we can put more complex steps in here, depending on the use case of the company. As well, we can choose to have the outcomes for the approval. It is not as necessary to have approve or reject. We can change these fields, of course, if the workflow is rejected, the form can be sent back to the first step to make the changes if it's necessary. The workflow templates are created based on the form templates that we have. So this is another. This is the base of an workflow template. Let's say I will take the trainings with AI recommendation. I will go into the form designer where we can see how the form it is built. So from the left side, we can add other questions. These are all the inputs that we have. Depending on the use case, we have simple inputs or more complex for other use cases that are in need of images, of pins on images, of locations, upload documents, images, and of course tables with more complex data. So from here, it's a self-service app where you can add and customize the form as you want. And after you create a form, you save it, you create the workflow template where you can put the steps. And after that, the workflow process can be created as well and assign the roles for each step. Do you have questions regarding the demo or the forms, the workflows?
Great. Thank you so much, Violetta. If there's nothing else that we can show during this demo, I really do believe that this is a really powerful solution. And I do see that we also do have some questions from the audience, which I'm going to start reading immediately. So we do have the first question. Do the AI enhanced workflows apply only to the trainings? That's a really good question. I'm going to let Gabriel answer this one, as I do believe he has some really valuable information to share.
Yeah, so this is only an example. Yeah, we wanted you to see a bit how it works, but of course, we have several use cases, and Swarm is a flexible solution to allow a wide area of use cases. So I think, Violeta, what would you exemplify besides trainings?
We have a lot of assessments inside the swarm. We have inspections, damage reports, where the inspectors are going to the on-site and see that and fill out a form with images, and then send that form to the manager to approve it or reject it. So are a lot of use cases that where we can use Swarm in a lot of domains, of course.
Cool.
Great, great. And we also do have some more questions in here that are a little bit more technical as well. So I do find them really interesting. The second question is, how does the AI connect with our systems? And I do believe that Gabriel and Violeta are the most qualified to respond to this question. So I'm going to let them pick the stage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure. So for starters, you have seen, of course, what an end user would see. But also happy that in the audience we have more technical colleagues, yeah, who are interested in the behind the scenes, and it's good that we prepare for today also a backup in case we get such questions. So we rely, of course, on several connectors, and also that's where we feed in our information. Yeah. So on one hand, how we are structured, of course, you have the data collection part, which can be on a tablet, on a mobile phone, on the laptop, and so on. We do have all these kind of administration portal. We've seen the behind the scenes with Violeta, where she was creating a workflow, creating a template and updating a template. But actually the power of Swarm is that we link with all these enterprise systems. So if you think of a certain policy that relies in a SharePoint of the customer, then of course that's one of the sources. That could be that we link to through the Microsoft connectors to the Salesforce to the SharePoint, and then we read that one. On the other hand, it could be more, let's say, transactional information. So if you relate back to the example of the trainings, then you want to know but how many trainings did that person already attended, or maybe is that person, let's say, for the first time asking this year for a training? So we would look into the more transactional systems. It could be SAP, it could be another. So we consolidate from different sources. We aggregate it inside, and of course we give what we consider the best recommendation out of all the insights that we got from that customer. Cool.
Great. Thank you so much for the answer, Gabriel. And we also do have another question, which is actually in relation to this one. How does the AI knowledge base work? This is the question that we also have here.
Yeah. So that's something ever growing, so to say, because with each workflow in part, there's, let's say, one more contribution that can allow us to take better decisions in the future. So firstly, for this solution, we started from well-established models, and we started also from some open source ones, from OpenAI and so on. OpenAI being, of course, one of the well-known in the market, and we made it, and we took it to an enterprise grade level. Yeah. So this is running on our premises. We take care of the security of the data. We take care because we know there's a lot of sensitive information that shouldn't pass from, for instance, one customer to the other or to the internet in the outside world. So we rely, of course, on some well-established models in the market, which we instance and we also contribute to their training inside the BearingPoint. And we know we can, let's say, deploy some and ensure a software as a service solution working end-to-end to a certain customer in a fully secured way up to the latest industry standards in terms of security.
Thank you so much for the answer, Gabriel. These are all the questions that I have listed over here, which were some really great questions, I must say. Really managed to clear everything up. Since we don't have any more questions, I would like to thank you, all of you, for joining us today and exploring the power of Swarm. We have shown you how our AI enhanced approval workflows can help reduce human error, increase efficiency, and provide even deeper insights for better decision making. Now, for the next step, if you have any further questions or would like even a personalized demo, please feel free to reach out to our experts, which are Violeta and Gabriel in this case, or visit our website. We are always more than happy to answer to any of your queries, and we are convinced that we can find a way to streamline your process in a positive way with our solutions. Thanks so much. If Violeta and Gabriel have some words to say as well, I invite them to say them as well.
Yeah, thank you from my part. Look forward. Also, we had, of course, participants from different companies which might be interested, and look forward to hear more from you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a good day, everyone.
Bye.